Hi, folks. Welcome back. Dennis Vitoza, a.k.a. Def Noodles. And today we're going to be checking in on a friend of the show, Matt Nuclear. We haven't talked about him in a few days, but things don't appear to be getting any better for Matt. In fact, they seem to be getting a whole lot worse. Matt hasn't live streamed in about a week, meaning he hasn't appeared to be fulfilling the obligations outlined in his contract with the Daily Wire. That's led a lot of people online to start speculating that the Daily Wire may have officially dropped Matt. If you'll remember, Matt accidentally leaked his Daily Wire contract after uploading it to Grok. He inadvertently shared the link to the Grok chat where he was analyzing the contract during a live stream, allowing people to access it and effectively leak the entire agreement online. One of the details people noticed was that Matt was on a probationary period, at least during the first few weeks of the agreement, and that he was expected to produce somewhere around 3 to 4 shows per week. Needless to say, the man has been offline for a little over 2 weeks. It's getting on 2 weeks. Now, this all comes from the story we covered involving allegations that Matt called a daycare in San Marcos, Jacksonville, allegedly threatening to either blow the place up or shoot it up. If you want to get the full context on that, check out my previous video covering this story. Needless to say, and perhaps unsurprisingly, Matt never directly responded to those allegations or provided any meaningful clarification. Instead, he simply went quiet for days. Since then, he's returned to posting on X, where he's gone right back to making the same snarky Israel first neocon statements that he used to do. However, while Matt has returned to posting, the backlash surrounding him has only continued to grow, especially now that the story has started spreading outside of conservative circles. In fact, the Bulwark recently covered it with the headline, "Ben Shapiro hired a debater to fight Groypers. It backfired badly." The article opens by saying the internet is a vicious place, even when, or especially when, you're fighting vicious people. From there, it recaps Ben Shapiro's announcement bringing Matt onto the Daily Wire, outlines the mission Shapiro gave him, and explains how Matt was specifically brought into battle Nick Fuentes and the Groyper movement in those online spaces. It also discusses some of the broader struggles the Daily Wire has been facing recently. I'm not going to spend too much time going through the article because it's behind a paywall. If you want to go and read it, you can. We've already covered most of the substance of the story in previous videos anyway, so if you're curious, feel free to go back and watch those as well. That said, there are some new developments. As I mentioned, Matt has returned to X, where he's been defending the Israel first neocon position. You would think that, considering he got backstabbed by Ben Shapiro, that he would perhaps start changing his mind about his allegiances, but clearly not so much so. Anyway, before we get to his reactions, I want to highlight another response to this entire situation, because as I said, the left has now started paying attention to this story as well. One person who decided to jump into the fray and share her opinion was Kasparian, who had the following to say.
Nuclear serves as a proxy in Shapiro's continued battle with Nick Fuentes and the Groypers. And the Bulwark, which reported on this story, wrote the following. Shapiro made clear that Matt Nuclear's main mission was to take down white nationalist Nick Fuentes. And Nuclear seemed all in. In another video last week with the Daily Wire hosts, he had said Fuentes was part of an anti-Western civilization coalition with a hyperfixation on Israel. Now, attempting to basically reclaim the right-wing cultural narrative of, and take over, I guess, Fuentes' audience in his mind. He ends up hiring this Matt. It's so dumb. Ends up hiring this Matt Nuclear guy. I've watched some of his content, and honestly, he doesn't seem to have the riz, right, necessary to take Nick Fuentes' audience from him. I don't know. Now, his communications with Grok also included his unwillingness and disinterest in dating.
Well, that's definitely not a good look. I think it goes without saying that it's thoroughly embarrassing. Matt ended up responding to Kasparian, not in one, but in 2 different posts. In the first, he wrote, "Hey, Kasparian, I'm 19, you're 39, you're a married woman. Can you stop trying to indulge in my sex life?" Here's the thing, buddy. Nobody is trying to indulge in your sex life, brother. Sorry to break it to you. Just because Kasparian is talking about information that you yourself disclosed to Grok and then failed to properly OPSEC before accidentally leaking it doesn't suddenly mean she's obsessed with you or wants to get with you. That's simply not what's happening objectively. She's pointing out how bizarre the situation is. And look, by the way. There is absolutely nothing wrong with prioritizing a professional life over dating. There's nothing wrong with choosing not to pursue relationships. Plenty of people do that. Some people do it because they're career focused. Others do it because they're deeply devoted to Christ and their faith. And they want to wait until they find the right life partner, someone they can dedicate their lives and bodies to, build a family with, and share those values. If those were Matt's reasons, that would be completely fine. Nobody would judge him for that. In fact, they shouldn't. The issue is that Matt voluntarily disclosed this information to Grok. It ended up getting leaked, and people commented on information that he himself put out there. And to his own mother's admission in that interview, which, if you'll remember, was about Matt's alleged calling of a terror attack on a daycare, his mother said he has no friends, nobody he talks to, which to me suggested he may be a little autistic. And look, I've met the guy. I've seen how incredibly good he is at memorizing facts. I can't disagree with that. He's good. Matt can absolutely memorize information front and back and use it effectively in a debate. But memorizing facts and understanding people are two very different skill sets. He doesn't seem particularly good at having conversations or reading social situations. He doesn't come across as a well-oiled social machine. If the task is memorizing information and rattling it off, absolutely, Matt can do that. No questions asked. But when it comes to reading social cues, understanding context, or recognizing how he's coming across, that's something he may genuinely want to work on. I'm just saying. That's based on what his mother said and what I've personally observed. Anyway, that's not where Matt stopped, because if that wasn't enough, he then went on to post a 1 and 28-second compilation of people talking about him. Apparently, he's been endlessly searching his own name online because he shared this video with a caption saying, "My biggest haters can't stop talking about me." And this is cringe for several reasons. Number one, this is a very common internet mistake that newbies make when they're just starting out. They completely misunderstand the difference between criticism and hate, and they use that purposeful or not purposeful misunderstanding of criticism and hate to start painting a victim narrative that they try to use to their benefit. So here's a brief explanation, just in case anybody's confused. Just because someone criticizes you online doesn't mean they're being hateful. There was nothing in what Kasparian said in that clip that any reasonable person would characterize as hate. And if there were genuinely hateful comments, then of course, those should be called out, criticized, and perhaps even condemned. But people who have been in this business for 20-something years aren't automatically haters simply because they're criticizing you. Calling all criticism hate is a serious level of cope. And I genuinely suggest Matt learns to distinguish between the two if he actually wants to be taken seriously in this industry. Now, obviously, this is also someone who has repeatedly shown that he has no scruples when it comes to how he presents other people that he may have an adversarial relationship with. He has no problem dishonestly misrepresenting other folks or deceptively editing clips to create a false narrative, and that's exactly what he's doing here. One of the clips he included was Kasparian literally complimenting him. She says he's a relatively attractive young man. She says that if he wanted to, he could probably go find a girlfriend if he dedicated himself to it. Those are compliments, yet Matt packages those clips together under the title of "My biggest haters can't stop talking about me." So now saying you're a relatively attractive young man is hate? Saying you have the ability to find a girlfriend if you wanted to is hate? I mean, folks, you really can't make this stuff up. Anyway, that's a short update for today. I am traveling to Las Vegas over the next few days, where I'll be participating in several debates out there. Tomorrow, I'll be on Brian Shapiro's show, and I'll also be doing a few other debates while I'm out there, some with people you'll recognize and some with people that maybe you won't. Some of those conversations will be released sooner than others, but I'll obviously be sharing them here as they come out so you can check them out for yourself. Either way, thank you so much for watching, folks. I hope you have a terrific day. God bless the USA. Let's go win tomorrow against Belgium. Peace.